Good day, ma'am. Good day, classmates. My report is all about data collection method. When you heard about data collection method, what comes into your mind? So now, data collection is a process of gathering and analyzing specific information to proper solution to relevant questions and evaluate the results. It focuses on finding out all there is to a particular subject matter. Next is methods of primary data collection. Primary data collection methods is collected from the first-hand experience and is not used in the past. The data gathered by the primary data collection methods are specific, the research motive, and highly accurate. And there are two categories of primary data collection: quantitative methods and qualitative methods. Quantitative methods are quantitative techniques for market research and demand forecasting usually make use of statistical tools. So, it means that these methods of primary data collection are generally used to make long-term forecasts. Statistical methods also are highly reliable as the element of subjectivity is in minimum in these methods, and also do not provide the motive behind the participant responses, often don't reach underrepresented population, and span long periods to collect the data. Next is qualitative methods are especially useful in the situation when historical data is not, or there is no need of number is mathematical calculation. So qualitative method also are closely associated with the words, sounds, feelings, emotion, colors, and etc. Next is methods of secondary data collection. Secondary data collection, it means that information is already available and someone analyzes it. So it means that the secondary data includes our magazines, newspapers, books, journals. So it may either publish and unpublished data. So we have an example of published data: public records, business document, historical and statistical documents. So those are belongs with published data. And the unpublished data is letters, diaries, unpublished biographies. So those are unpublished data. Advantage and disadvantages of data collection, measurement, and scaling technique. Scales of measurement: nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio scale. So first is nominal scale. Nominal scale is a numbers are used to identify the object. So it means that there are, I have an example of nominal scale. Have you ever visited in Mati? So in this question, there is coded because there is nominal scale. The coded in that question is yes or no. So if there are person who visit here in Mati, 2 person voted yes, and no is 1 who did not visit here in Mati. So the numeric attached to the answer has no meaning, and it is a mere identification. Or if numbers are interchanged as 1 yes and no is 2, it means or won't affect the answers given by the respondents. The numbers in use in nominal scales are serve only the purpose of counting. So the purpose of the nominal scale is to count. And next is interval scale is more powerful than the nominal scale. The distance given on the scale represent equal distance on the property being measured. So interval scale, so we have an example. So how many hours you spend to do class assignments every day? So for example, 30 minutes to 1 hour. 1 hour to 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. So in that question, there is the implication of that. We can compute the range of mean and median. Next is ordinal scale. Ordinal scale is used for ranking in the most market research studies. It is used to certain the customer perceptions and preferences. So we have an example. We have 5 ranks and items, number of respondents. So first rank, the item of first rank is Synthol. The number of respondents in Synthol is 150. Rank number 2, Liril. The number of respondents 300. Rank number 3, the item is Hamam. The number of respondents is 250. Rank number 4, Lux. Number of respondents is 200. Rank number 5, Life Buoy. The number of respondents is 100. The total of respondents is 1,000. So, in that, we identify the mode and the median. So, to identify the mode, that is rank number 2 because that is the highest number. And the median is, to identify the median is rank number 3. It is because it is the lowest to highest value, or simply mean as in the middle. Next is ratio scale. So ratio scale is a special kind of interval scale that has meaningful 0 point. With this scale, length, weight, distance can be measured. So to measure the ratio scale is the length, the width, weight, distance, and can be measured. So in this scale, it is possible to say that how many times or greater or smaller one object is being compared to the other. So for example of this, sales this year for product A are twice the sale of the same product last year. So in this example, we should have, or the implication of this is the all statistical operation can be performed on this scale. And the next is general issues and scaling. Scaling is usually done text statements, for example, attitude and beliefs. In order to represent the text statements on the scale, numbers are assigned to such statements which are provided by the ruler. So, general issue in scaling, it also means that scaling is a properly defined in general issues in scaling that briefly explains the distinction between response format and scale. These responses are actually the feedback that is taken from the people in different forms of examples, questionnaires, and by using the different scale like nominal, interval, ordinal, and ratio scale that provides numerical concluded. Likert scale. Likert scale is a type used to measure attitude or opinions. With this scale, respondents are asked to rate items on a level of agreement. So, Likert scale, it is to collect data. You present participant with a Likert type question or statement and a continuum of possible responses with the 5 items. So, for example, strongly disagree, you rate as 5. Somewhat disagree, 2. Neither agree nor disagree, 3. Somewhat agree, 4. And strongly agree is 5. So those are the example of Likert scale.
Descriptive research questions are inquiries that researchers use to gather quantifiable data about the attributes and characteristics of research subjects. These types of questions primarily seek responses that reveal existing patterns in the nature of the research subjects. Comparative research essentially compares two groups in an attempt to draw a conclusion about them. Researchers attempt to identify and analyze similarities and differences between groups, and these studies are most often cross-national, comparing two separate people or groups. Casual studies, which are also known as experimental studies, are designed to determine whether one or more variables causes or affects the value of the variables. A content question is a question with which the speaker asks the hearer to supply specific information about participants and settings. One of the major difficulties in writing good survey questions is getting the wording right. Even slight wording differences can confuse the respondent or lead to incorrect interpretation of the questions. Just as in other aspects of life, first impressions are important in survey work. The first few questions you ask will determine the tone for the survey and can help put your respondent at ease. With that in mind, the opening few questions should, in general, be easy to answer. You might start with some simple descriptive questions that will get the respondent rolling. You should never begin your survey with sensitive or threatening questions. That is for opening question. One of the most difficult tasks facing the survey designer involves the ordering of questions. Which topics should be introduced early in the survey and which later? If you leave your most important questions until the end, you may find that your respondents are too tired to give them the kind of attention you would like. If you introduce them too early, they may not yet be ready to address the topic, especially if it is difficult or disturbing one. There are no easy answers to these problems. You have to use your judgment. Whenever you think about question placement, consider the following questions. Is the answer influenced by prior questions? Does question come too early or too late to arouse interests? Does the question receive sufficient attention? That is about question placement. The difference between structured and unstructured questionnaire. A structured questionnaire is a question in which precise questions are asked in advance, while on the other hand, an unstructured questionnaire is a tool or guide used by an interviewer who asks questions about a specific topic or problem.